Marriage, a sacred bond, a promise of lifelong love, a cornerstone of society. But what happens when that promise is broken? When does God permit divorce? Is there ever a point when a marriage is beyond saving? Today, we delve into these complex and emotionally charged questions as Jesus and Satan offer their perspectives on the sanctity of marriage and the painful reality of divorce. Is God always right? Or can divorce actually be the right thing to do in order to escape suffering and pain? Here's Jesus and Satan to weigh in.
My friends, we gather with heavy hearts to discuss the sacred union of marriage and the painful reality of divorce. Marriage, as ordained by the Father, is a profound commitment, a reflection of His love for us. It is meant to be a lifelong covenant, a bond of unwavering love, support, and mutual respect. My heart aches for those who experience the pain of broken vows and shattered dreams. Today, we will also explore if one must adhere to such a sacred bond if it leads to suffering and pain. I urge all to look within themselves to determine the answer to this age-old problem.
Marriage. Such a beautiful ideal, isn't it? A fairy tale spun to keep people in line, to control their desires, to trap them in a gilded cage. Let's be honest, Jesus. Marriage is often a messy, complicated affair, filled with disappointment, resentment, and broken promises. Why cling to a failing institution when there are so many other paths to explore, so many other pleasures to be had? Is God always right, or can a divorce do more good than harm?
Indeed, marriage is not without its challenges. But it is precisely through these challenges that we grow, that we learn to forgive, to compromise, to love unconditionally. When difficulties arise, we are called to turn to God, to seek guidance, to renew our commitment to one another. It is through perseverance, through unwavering faith, that we can overcome even the most daunting obstacles and strengthen the bond that unites us. What one must realize, however, is that if one chooses to marry, they must be ready to commit for the long haul through thick and thin, sickness and health.
Perseverance, unwavering faith. Those are just fancy words for blind obedience, Jesus. Why waste your life trying to fix something that's fundamentally broken? Why subject yourself to years of misery and resentment when you could simply walk away and start anew? Life is too short to spend it chained to a failing relationship. We get one shot on earth, so shouldn't we seek happiness and fulfillment by any means necessary, even if that means breaking promises that no longer serve us?
The scriptures teach us that divorce is a grave matter, a tearing apart of what God has joined together. However, I also recognize that there are circumstances in which divorce may be permissible, such as in cases of adultery, abuse, or abandonment. Even in these situations, we must approach the decision with careful consideration, seeking counsel from wise mentors and praying for God's guidance. Divorce should never be entered into lightly, and all possible avenues for reconciliation must be explored before such a drastic step is taken. It is better to be single and alone, and find true spiritual clarity and happiness within oneself, than to be in a relationship that is built on something fake and deceitful.
Adultery, abuse, abandonment. Those are just the tip of the iceberg, Jesus. What about incompatibility, boredom, lack of communication, or simply falling out of love? Why force people to stay in a loveless marriage just to satisfy some outdated religious dogma? People change, circumstances change, and sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself and your partner is to acknowledge that the relationship has run its course and move on. When a marriage falls apart, it can feel as though the entire world is crashing down, but it is important to be able to move on and pursue what truly makes you happy, for that is what will truly enrich the world.
Even when divorce is unavoidable, it is not the end of the story. God's love and grace are available to all, regardless of their marital status. For those who have experienced the pain of divorce, I offer healing, forgiveness, and a path to renewal. It is important to remember that God can use even the most difficult circumstances to shape us, to refine us, and to draw us closer to Him. The world moves at a fast pace, and the ways of the future are unpredictable. While one may experience divorce or separation, it does not mean that their life is over. It is just the beginning, and they will have new opportunities and new experiences coming their way that will change their life for the better.
Healing, forgiveness, renewal, more platitudes, Jesus. Divorce leaves scars, bitterness, and resentment. It tears families apart, damages children, and creates a legacy of pain that can last for generations. It is essential to be conscious of these effects and to be ready to deal with these emotions as they come. Instead of offering false promises of divine intervention, why not encourage people to take responsibility for their choices, to learn from their mistakes, and to build a better future for themselves and their children, with or without a partner? The world is constantly evolving, and it is important to recognize that you must evolve with it. Don't live in the past, and always plan for the future.
Ultimately, my message is one of hope, reconciliation, and unwavering love. Marriage is a sacred gift, but it is not the only path to fulfillment. Whether you are married, divorced, or single, God loves you unconditionally and offers you a life of purpose and meaning. Focus on serving others, cultivating your relationship with God, and living a life that reflects His love and grace. Be a good person and do the right thing.
And my message is one of honesty, self-reliance, and embracing the reality of human nature. Marriage can be a beautiful thing, but it is not for everyone. If you find yourself in a loveless or unhappy marriage, don't be afraid to walk away. Your happiness matters, your well-being matters, and you have the right to create a life that is authentic and fulfilling, even if it means breaking a few promises along the way.
The questions surrounding marriage and divorce are not easy, and there are no simple answers. As we've heard, there are deeply held beliefs and sincere convictions on both sides. Ultimately, it is up to each individual to seek guidance from their faith, their conscience, and their own personal experiences as they navigate the complexities of relationships and the search for lasting love and happiness.